So let me quickly show you these two tools here in the time remap category in our community library of automation blocks. These tools are effectively for situations where you feel like you want to change the duration of a layer with a slider control, with expressions, so to speak. And to say this very clearly, you cannot really do that. What these tools try is they try to fake this by time remapping layers in the composition and controlling their opacity to switch them on and off with expressions. And I've got two of them. One inserts or deletes frame at the current time, at a time with sliders. So this would mean you could, for example, do something like at some point in time pause for a few frames and then continue with the rest of the comp as normal to make some part longer. Or you could skip some frames. Say at this point in time, please jump at the end of this layer, for example, when the comp plays back with the help of sliders that you can control then. And the other one is this one here, stretch time region with sliders, which can cause some part of your composition to play slower or faster. So, and this is what I want to show you first. So we've got here this composition with one pre-comp, and I know it looks very boring. It's just for testing, so to speak. And here it comes a second pre-comp, and I print the frames of the pre-comps here such that you get a better idea what's going on. And I marked here the original start and end times of those with markers such that you can see what's going on. And now let's say we want this first pre-comp here to play faster or slower. Yeah? So how could we do this? I select both layers because the timing of all these layers should be controlled with the expression. And this also means you need to have in your composition only layers that can be time remapped. Yeah, otherwise you need to pre-compose them. I've got pre-comps here already. And then you can run the tool. And it asks you now on which layer the sliders should be created. It creates me on the first pre-comp. You could also create them on the other layer. And then it asks, do you want to work with frames on your sliders or with seconds? Yeah, let's keep this as frames and click OK. And what now happened is on this pre-comp layer, I've got some effect stretch time segment, which offers me a start time of the region that should be stretched and an end time and a new duration to which this should be stretched. If I set start and end time both to 0, it's effectively deactivating it. And you can see everything plays as normal. First, until this point here, the first pre-comp plays where our middle marker is. And here comes the second pre-comp. You can also see that both pre-comps now have set their in and out point to last for the full duration. And this is because effectively their content can shift now in time with the expression. So this means we need to make them full comp size, full comp duration, such that they can appear or disappear with the help of the expressions at any frame. Now, if we want to make this part from here to here, and by the way, you see the original in and out points of the layers if you look at the time remap keyframes. Here's the start of this layer, here's the end, here's the start of the second one, and here's the end of the second layer. Yeah. So what do we have? We have these effect controls here, which you use to control it. We've got time remap properties with expressions on them. And we also have on the opacity of the layers. Let me just quickly reveal this. On the opacity of these two layers, we also have expressions that make sure that they are not visible the entire time here, but only in the area where they should. And this is why at the moment everything looks still as the original comp. Now let's say from here where the time remap appeared, this is at frame 10 of this pre-comp, but at frame 20 of the composition. So I set the start time to 20 and the end time, let me check this also before we activate it. Let's say here at frame 90 where it starts to fade out, this is frame 100 of the original composition. So the region from frame 20 to frame 100, and let's say we want to compress this a lot. It should play faster. This means the new target duration should be, let's say if we bring this to a duration of 30, then this means it starts at frame 20, and at 50 it should already be over, right? So we can see here we are at frame 20, and the layer appears here as normal. And now if you look at the frame numbers, you can see they go very fast. And already, let's see, here it starts disappearing already now. And this is now at frame 50 already and not at frame 100 where it was before. Yeah? Now you can see this is disappearing, and also immediately after it the second layer comes up, yeah, as we wanted. So it's like it's compressing this region here and shifting over all the content that comes afterwards, so to speak. Yeah, and now the comp is effectively finished already here because we played this part faster. Okay, let me show you in the same way how the other tool, let me just go here to project. Let me quickly show you how the add remove frames thing is working. I've got the same example prepared here. And here we can insert or delete frames. So it's exactly the same. You choose the layers that should be time remapped, run your tool, and now choose the layer on which you want to have your effect controls, and if you want to work with frames or seconds, okay. And it again created expressions on the time remap and opacity of the layer, and created this effect here, insert delete frames, and here you just say the number of frames you want to insert and at which point in time they should be inserted. Yeah. So this means currently we say insert 10 frames at frame number 100. Remember that, oh, I've got caps lock disabled, I'm sorry. So this means here our comp plays as normal. And now if we go to frame number 100, which is here, frame number 100 is frame 90 of the pre-comp. Yeah, you can see it stays at frame 90 for 10 frames, and only after that continues here with the rest of the animation. Yeah, this means everything else is delayed by 10 frames, so to speak. And here, where originally the second layer was over, it now just starts fading out in order to disappear actually 10 frames after that. Yeah, so this here says insert 10 frames after frame number 100. We could also say that we remove 10 frames. So we set this to -10. This means at frame 100, which is here, yeah, it immediately jumps 10 frames forward. So you can see the previous frame was 89. Now the next frame should be 90, but since we decided to jump forward here 10 frames, to delete 10 frames, after that it immediately goes to frame 100, and now the second animation here appears as we wanted. Yeah. So these are these two tools here which allow you to use some time remapping and opacity magic, so to speak, to control the timing of your composition, in particular to make a particular part of your composition play slower or faster, or to which would be this stretch one here, or to insert or remove frames in your composition at a particular point in time. And all of this dynamically with expressions controlled by these slider values here.